Hi, I'm Ashura, and welcome to my story-focused playthrough of the first questline in the Koresh campaign. I am all about the story and lore in World of Warcraft, so I'm going to be going through all of the quests, reading them out loud, and unpacking all of the very juicy lore reveals we get in 11.2. Before we get into it, I would like to say that this is not my first time doing these quests. I have done them before, so this will not be a reaction video, but if you're more interested in my reactions and initial thoughts, I streamed that all on Twitch, so you can find a link to that in the caption. Otherwise, let's go to Koresh. Okay, actually, real quick, before we do get into Koresh, I think a teensy summary of a story catch-up is in order because I had theorized a lot about all the players and moving parts that show up in this patch, and I turned out to be very wrong, so I feel like I sort of need to set the stage. The first time we saw the Shadow Guard was at the end of Legion on Argus, and locus-walker had told us that they'd all succumbed to the Call of the Void, and then we deal with them in the quests and deal with them in the Seat of the Triumvirate dungeon. We don't see them again until the end of Dragonflight during Xal'atath's Harbinger questline. And I suppose everybody else, Illyria included, had assumed that meant that the Shadow Guard were in league with Xal'atath. Well, that's not the case, as we learned in Undermine content. The ethereals, or specifically the Shadow Guard ethereals, then pop up again in Undermine in search of the Dark Heart, and they're able to get their hands on it and secrete it away. And then we learn that Xal'atath is actually very upset that the ethereals have gotten their hands on the Dark Heart, because as it turns out, Xal'atath and the ethereals are not teamed up. They did not get the Dark Heart for her. They in fact stole it for some other nefarious purpose, which involved Koresh. And in fact, we are going to learn, and this has sort of been told to us in the premise for 11.2, that the Shadow Guard ethereals have the Dark Heart because they're hoping to use it to revive the Void Lord Dimensius. And Dimensius was the Void Lord who originally destroyed Koresh all those years ago. So the Shadow Guard are big players in this patch, but I mostly wanted to say that because I had assumed for a while that they were teamed up with Xal'atath, and I think it's very important to say going into this storyline that they in fact are not. They are on two completely different sides, and that will be important for the story. Okay, now let's go to Koresh. I've received word from my mentor, locus-walker. He warns of a Shadow Guard plot that requires our aid. I wonder if he's finally tracked down Xal'atath. Come to the Foundation Hall in Dornigal. We must speak immediately.
You want us to abandon our hunt for Xal'atath?
Dimensius the All-Devouring is being revived by the Shadow Guard. I need your help. We forestall extinction.
I'm glad you are here. I will need your help, as well as Illyria's.
Survival is our utmost priority.
The Shadow Guard will stop at nothing to revive the Void Lord Dimensius. And we should be concerned. My home was sundered by the monster. It is no mystery on how things will end if it is not stopped. However, I've been working on a plan, a contingency, really, and it is now time to put it into motion.
We do what we must.
I have been retained by the Koresh Trust, a coalition of both broker and ethereal cartels who seek to reclaim Koresh. The Trust is in desperate need of one of your skills. The Shadow Guard assaults our city and threatens the work of the Ecodome Project. Please, accompany me.
My past doesn't... The Koresh Trust has tasked me with stopping Dimensius and defending Tazavesh.
The brokers are from Koresh?
The All-Devouring's attack left us refugees. The Shadowlands demanded stronger containment suits than our ramps.
we start off so strong with the lore reveals. So we learned, and it just came out this week, but we learned in the 1117 lore walking for the ethereal lore walking, in case you haven't already done it, that the ethereals and the brokers are from the same planet, that they're both from Koresh. And that is clarified and expanded on a bit in the Koresh campaign. But what locus-walker says here about how Demensia's attack on Koresh left them refugees, and the Shadowlands demanded stronger containment suits than our reps, is implying a lot, in my opinion. Like, to me, this sounds like he's saying that the brokers aren't dead, like we originally thought they were, but that they're, in fact, very much alive. Not that they're perhaps ethereals or another species from Koresh who died and then ended up going to the Shadowlands when they died, but that they have in fact been alive the whole entire time, and that they fled Koresh into the Shadowlands for some reason. To be honest, we don't really learn. I have a few different theories, but I'm not going to get into it. But more than that, that the reason the brokers look the way they do is because they're wearing these containment suits to protect themselves from the Shadowlands. And I know sort of back in Shadowlands, there were all these theories about how the brokers and ethereals were probably one and the same. And I think it had to do with the brokers' appearance, like their flame heads, shall we say? That functionally speaking, within the suit, they are energy beings just like the ethereals. And it wasn't until 1117 and then this dropping on the PTR that we really got that confirmation. They are both from Koresh. They are both, I guess, Koreshi. The storyline will still technically distinguish between them as ethereals and brokers, but I would say they're both Koreshi. We'll just go with that. Real-time cutscene. Camera pan showing off the city you are entering. The docks are busy with workers, flying barges are queued up unloading supplies. Camera pans up and reveals that we're not in the Shadowlands, we're at Koresh.
You have found me.
I know that Xal'atath must be behind this threat. My long hunt for her draws to a close.
Stay alert.
Greetings and welcome to Tazavesh.
The secret to management is delegation.
Tazavesh has returned to Koresh to find our enemies waiting for us.
Survival is our utmost priority.
Welcome to Tazavesh, both of you. We have much to discuss. Your assistance is crucial, as always.
I assume these creatures are the assistance you promised, locus-walker. Does this affect the schedule?
Locus-walker was brought into the Trust to handle such a violent crisis of the Void. He says you are some kind of hero or champion? Good. We are in need of such a thing. Tazavesh is under threat from the Void, the Shadow Guard. They threaten the work of the Trust and my reputation as an administrator.
If the this managerial job in Tazavesh has been one crisis after another, I delegate solving these problems to you.
Xal'atath is out there, and we do chores?
We must pay the bureaucratic tax if we want free run of the city.
Will more flesh creatures from off-world be arriving to aid the Trust? Never mind. I'll find the appropriate forms. Best to plan for chaos. Or worse, the Maw Walker to return.
Who are the Trust?
They are a coalition of cartels. Ba, Zai, Zo, and Om, as well as ethereals from the consortium. Tazavesh was acquired by the Trust's founder to act as a supply port and recreation center for the revitalized Project Ecodome.
Our eco-domes are threatened by both the Shadow Guard and the barbarian wastelanders. It is more than Cartel Zoe's security can manage. The founder believes that the sinister rival sorcerer locus-walker can solve this crisis. I am skeptical. The only progress I have noticed is the increase of paperwork on my desk.
My student, Alaria Windrunner, and Azeroth's champion have my full support. I have the founders. I suggest you give them yours.
Very well. I have approved your entry. You have complete access to the city. No need to sneak in or cause trouble.
If you're like me and you were wondering what the heck Ravel Sorcerer means, we're actually going to learn pretty shortly, but I think it's after the next few quests. So I will slightly spoil it for you. We are going to learn that the Ravel was an organization among the ethereals that was composed of technomancers, some of the broker cartel leaders, and basically just some of the Koreshi's, greatest thinkers. And that locus-walker, perhaps unsurprisingly, was part of that organization. I want to jump in here real quick and talk about the different groups that make up the Koresh Trust. Locus-walker says that it's a coalition of the cartels Ba, Zai, Zo, and Om. We learn from Omen, though we already technically knew this from the Tazavesh dungeon, the Cartel Zo is in charge of security. You may be most familiar with Cartel Zai, since we saw multiple bosses from Cartel Zai in not only the Other Side dungeon, but also in the Nathria and Sepulchre of the First One's raids. That's where we fought Artificer Zymox. And I do want to say that Cartel Zai are traders, they're merchants, and they actually own the Grand Menagerie in Tazavesh. So I guess it's not too surprising that they would probably come with Tazavesh. Then there's Cartel Ba, who is partially responsible for the mail, the post, or at least that's what we know of them from Shadowlands. In 11.2, it seems like they have a bigger role and are also merchants spread throughout Tazavesh. I should add that they do say in Shadowlands content that they value the accumulation of information and knowledge. That isn't really different from any of the other broker cartels. So it's hard to say exactly what they do in broker society relative to the other cartels, but I expect that there's technically a lot of overlap between all of the different cartels. And then Cartel Ohm, which I actually don't know that we've seen too much about up to this point. I think they are mostly a more significant addition in 11.2 stuff. Actually, as of this point, they don't have their own Warcraft wiki page. Now, we actually do see brokers from a few other cartels sort of spread throughout Tazavesh, even if they're not technically part of the Koresh Trust. We will see some brokers from Cartel Ta and some brokers from Cartel So. And there's a few other cartels that I don't think we see any brokers from whatsoever, though there could be one or two that's escaped me. I would say Cartel Ao, who are like the profession trainers back in Oribos, and Cartel Al, though for the most part, those are the ones that ended up in Zereth Mortis. Now, the other organization in the Koresh Trust that's important to talk about is the Consortium, who are sort of like the ethereal version of Cartel Zai. We met them for the first time in TBC back in Nagrand, and they're pretty much just ethereal traders who specialize in commerce that have roamed across the cosmos looking for things to buy and sell.
I need help. Arcane manifestations are out of control.
This must be the new specialist. Help me first.
Somehow, an artifact in the menagerie is broken open, unleashing a swarm of furious arcane creatures. They're wreaking havoc, and havoc is bad for the project. I need someone capable of getting this situation under control with no questions asked. If you can get down there, clear your way through the creatures, and seal that artifact, I'll make it worth your while.
The trust will save us.
I am Taka, supplier of rare creatures destined to repopulate my homeland. At least, I was until some of them escaped their translocation cages. This cannot stand. These creatures are vital. If you could assist me with capturing them, I'd be quite appreciative. Engage them in combat and subdue them. The capture device I provided will automatically translocate them back to my care once they're on the verge of defeat.
Someone sabotaged the enclosures through that portal. No! The barrier projectors! You, come here! I need competent assistance.
A deal is just another kind of oath.
This is not a good day. Not at all. My whole shipment of barrier projectors was ransacked. Most of them are gone, and it seems whatever the culprits didn't take, they destroyed. These barrier projectors are essential for securing the wild places on Koresh, and even the city of Tazavesh. Our efforts are in jeopardy. Please, if you can find any of my shipments, it would help us get our efforts back on track.
Always a pleasure. Do you wish to trade?
Have you located my barrier projectors?
May you succeed
Excellent.
in your endeavor.
With these projectors, we can once again secure our homeland. Anyway, you have my thanks for your assistance.
Your patronage is quite appreciated. At last, we return to Koresh.
You sealed the artifact? Excellent! The remaining creatures should dissipate in time. You've handled the danger with remarkable skill. As promised, here are your rewards.
It is good to see our ethereal kin
You've
again.
returned them. Excellent work. Here is your reward as promised.
Always a pleasure.
What has gone wrong now?
All the problems are solved. At least, all the problems that were on my ledger that I was responsible for.
These aren't accidents. This is sabotage. The Shadow Guard are already in Tazavesh. Dimensius must be stopped.
Lyria, have you sensed it? The void lingers in all of this. Whoever is pulling the strings is cloaked in shadow, hiding from us. Come, let's seek them out and drag them into the light before they strike.
We do what we must. Do you sense that, Valeria?
Yes, a void presence.
Get to safety, Omen. Champion, with me.
This void presence is fresh. It hasn't faded at all. Don't assume victory. Omen called you a Ravel sorcerer. What did they mean?
During the first war against Dimensius, we Koreshi warred against each other as much as we fought against the Void. I was part of the Ravel, a group of technomancers, cartel leaders, and great thinkers. We focused on unorthodox solutions to the Dimensius problem.
Who warred against you?
King Xal'atath rallied the oracles of Koresh to his side. They thought to save the world. They almost doomed it. We did not know at the time that the king had given an oath to the All-Devouring.
So his hunt in Outland for Dimensius was just a ruse?
A ploy. He radicalized those in the ethereals, seeking out the fragments of Dimensius for later conscription. The death of Xal'atath did not end the ascendancy of the Shadow Guard, as many in the Consortium had hoped.
How can we win this fight?
We must find a way to bring a fighting force to the Shadow Guard's Mana Forge. We must prevent the All-Devouring's return. If Dimensius should emerge fully formed, I know of nothing on this world capable of stopping him.
So, we get a little bit of new information here that we didn't actually have before. We learned in TBC, and these were the same quests that were in the 1117 lore walking stuff. We learned that Salhadar and the ethereals with him, had basically given into the void, and instead of trying to hunt the Void Lord Dimensius, they were instead allied with him, that they were trying to themselves become void creatures. But what we didn't know, at least until this moment, that Salhadar had actually been allied with the Void Lord Dimensius the whole entire time. Locus-walker basically just told us that Salhadar made a deal with Dimensius all the way back on Karesh and was on his side well before he even got to Outland with his group of ethereals. And moreover, that he recruited those ethereals under the guise of hunting down Dimensius, but instead was seeking to sort of recruit them for the cause of the void. And back when I originally went through those quests, I'd always wondered, I was like, well, was this sort of an Illyria type situation where Salhadar was trying to become void to fight Dimensius? Or did he actually, while hunting Dimensius down, give into the void? Turns out neither of those were technically true, and all along it was the fact that as soon as the Void Lord came to the ethereal homeworld, Nexus King Salhadar, the ruler of Karesh, just signed up and was like, you know what, never mind, I think I'm on your side now. So that was cool new context to get.
Champion, can you see it? Follow the trail.
They must be in hiding. On your word, I'll drag them from the shadows. Our fight continues.
I can feel it. They're lurking nearby. Whoever's behind the sabotage is clever, but not clever enough.
I'll drive them into the open. You must deal with them.
There's also something else I've been wondering about, and this may be the right time to say it, even though it's like a soft spoiler for what comes later. But so we learned from TBC that the Ethereum...
My ally warned me the Shadow Guard were already in Tazavesh.
We learned that the Ethereum were the ruling class of ethereals on Karesh. And the last time they showed up was in the Legion Artifact Acquisition quests. So we had killed
I sense
Salhadar.
more movement in the shadows. Get ready.
We had killed Salhadar during the TBC quests. He was the leader of the Ethereum. Next time they show up in Legion, they're led by a separate Nexus Prince, who we then kill. And then after that, we only ever see the Shadow Guard. We don't see the Ethereum again. And so I'd been plagued by the question of what happened to the Ethereum. And we sort of have it soft confirmed here in Karesh content that the Ethereum did pretty much...
Your mysterious ally was correct.
have disband. But we're also sort of reformed. And I say that pretty loosely. I think it was more that, like, they disbanded and then the Shadow Guard took over, especially knowing now that Salhadar's allegiance was to Dimensius the whole time. And that he's sort of...
Well fought. Let us return to Omen and see what more we can uncover.
He's affiliated with the Shadow Guard, shall we say.
There is much left to do.
Maximum
The Shadow Guard! Of course those void-addled fools are behind this. I should have known.
I am very busy.
Real-time cutscene. Everyone hears a deep voice from the darkness. The player can't understand what is being said, but the brokers/consortium people are clearly freaking out. Suddenly, a tear rips open in the sky, and energy blasts chaotically start raining down upon the city. Portals that look similar to the creature teleporter effect we used earlier begin to appear with Shadow Guards swarming out.
Danger lurks.
These people may not be my own, but we cannot stand by while the Shadow Guard cut them down. You and I, we can make a difference. We need to get out there, rescue the civilians, and bring them to safety. The city may be in chaos, but we can still be the shield they need.
Find the path to victory.
No, no, no! The Shadow Guard are ransacking the city, and our defenses are crumbling! We even invested in new security golems after the city was last breached. but we haven't had time to activate them. Wait, I have an idea. The Shadow Guard, some of them must have looted entropic cores that we can use to activate the golems. Please, you must take them down and retrieve those cores. We need to get those golems online to protect our investments. Our city. Lucky I'm assuming, the last time the city was breached is referring to us.
The secret to management is delegation.
And the Tazavesh Mega Dungeon. Those barrier projectors we recovered, we need them now. Place them at key points to reinforce the city shield and block more portals from forming. Move swiftly. This may be our only chance to stop the Shadow Guard from flooding in.
Survival, their leader. Where could they be hiding?
I fixed the barrier projectors. Set them up. Hurry.
Go. Maybe locus-walker is right. Xal'atath isn't behind this. She's somewhere, scheming.
Good. We made a difference here.
May your aim never falter.
Got those cores that Omen wanted?
Know your target.
These look like they're in good condition. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to the next phase of this plan.
Find the path to victory.
The entropic cores we collected will be crucial in our defense. Use the entropic cores to activate the market guardians scattered around the city. Once reactivated, these golems will join our fight and help us push back the invaders. Time is of the essence. The fate of Tazavesh rests in your hands.
We must get the guardians working again. Tazavesh depends on this technomancy for their survival.
I like how they're using Bastion golem models. Like, I sort of assumed that they might have actually, because they were in the Shadowlands, got golems from Bastion. But Illyria is also saying that they're made with technomancy, which is like an ethereal school of magic. So maybe they're just using the Bastion golem model and they're not actually from Bastion?
These constructs will defend the city. Without soldiers, Tazavesh will never defeat the Shadow Guard.
I forgot to turn in the other quest.
Know your target.
Well done. The shield around the city looks stronger already. And that should buy us some time against the Shadow Guard.
May your aim never falter. Danger lurks.
Excellent. That'll go a long way towards securing the city.
Find the path.
We've stabilized most of the city and saved as many as we could, but our job isn't over. Locus-walker must still be out there looking for the enemy commander. We've already searched over most of the city, so he must be in the one place we've not yet looked. Come, meet me at Maize's oasis.
No. Let's find Locus-walker. He was looking for the Shadow Guard leader.
These brokers' containment suits are breached. This will take a while to mend. We forestall extinction.
They found our quarry, but unfortunately not before they broke into this shelter.
We do what we must.
The commander of the Shadow Guard, Shadow Lord Alzar, has assaulted the shelter of the Trust. I am preoccupied with assisting these injured brokers. I dare not leave, or their Reshi energy will pour out. I must depend on you. Venture forth and eliminate Shadow Lord Alzar. His demise will cripple the Shadow Guard's assault on Tazavesh. The fate of the city rests on your shoulders.
Locus-walker and I will safeguard the injured. You handle the invasion, Commander.
We will feed this city to the all-devouring.
Good. The commander's death should have saved the city. For the moment.
Demencius must be stopped.
Without their leader, the Shadow Guard's assault on Tazavesh is crippled. For that, you have my gratitude. He pauses for a weighty moment. However, do not let this victory lull you into a false sense of security. There are darker forces at play, far more dangerous than the Shadow Guard. To resist them, we will need every advantage we can get, even those we would normally not consider. Real-time cutscene. Locus-walker says that things are finally secure for his ally to arrive, and a shadow portal opens. Who comes out of this? Xal'atath! Much to the player's surprise and Illyria's disgust, Locus-walker explains that we absolutely need her support to destroy Dimensius.
What next?
Why are you surprised to see me here, my champion? I can recognize raw power when I see it, and I've had my gaze on you for some time. I'm pleased that we are in a position where we need each other. You won't get to Dimensius without me, and I cannot satiate my hatred of the Void Lord without you. I'll let you in on a little secret as well. I am in no shape to do this on my own. After all, you helped Illyria foil my plans in Khazalgar. I need allies to do this, as do you.
With my help, victory awaits.
This feels like a waking nightmare. I never thought I would be standing here with her, acting as allies. Locus-walker is putting us all at great risk just talking to her. I'm only here because I trust him. We've been through a lot together. It's the only reason that she still stands. Illyria sighs. That and the fact that our body is no longer physical. But if she tries anything, I'll find a way.
May your aim never falter.
I know what you think. Please understand that even the worst enemies sometimes must work together to defeat an even greater evil. I can't say that I like it, but there's no other way. If anyone knows how to defeat Dimensius and remove his threat from the world, it is her. Please, trust me. I know what is at stake. How did Dimensius return? When Koresh was destroyed, it scattered fragments of Dimensius across the Great Dark Beyond. Under the guise of vengeance, Nexus King Saladar sought out untethered fragments of the Void Lord, only to collect them and reforge him in our dimension.
My past does not define me.
Dimensius threatens us once more. There is no one who knows his methods better than his former harbinger, Xal'atath. I want to say real quick, I think this is the first time it has explicitly confirmed that she was Dimensius' harbinger. That was a popular theory, but it was never said in such terms before this point. I would not say we can trust her, but we can work with her. She fears the All-Devouring's wrath after her betrayal. We can't afford to turn away any potential ally. Think how many we will save from the Void Lord's hunger. Get your bearings in this city the four of us save together. I will convince Illyria. So, if this is your first time coming upon this moment, you might be slightly confused. Well, so turns out that Locus-walker and Xal'atath have actually been allies the whole time, which is very awkward for Illyria. And I don't want to give it away now. I would rather talk about it when the story reveals it, but we are going to learn about her history with Locus-walker and more about what Locus-walker says about her betrayal of Dimensius and exactly what that means. Because when I went through this for the first time, I was like, is this just going to be a mystery again? Are we not going to get the answer? We will. We will get the answer. And it will make a lot of sense.
I could never ally with that monster.
Windrunner, Dimensius stirs. You must trust me. We have no better options.
Let us exchange words.
Let's start your registration. Please enter your name. Xal'atath's best friend. Please state your business. Supporting my ethereal friends. And done. Thank you for protecting the city. Because of you, we can continue the most important venture in Tazavesh, commerce.
These shadow god dogs will
Wealth can solve any problem.
Ah, the hero of Tazavesh. You saved our city, so I'll give you some advice free of charge. Just this once. What awaits me out there in Koresh? Koresh is a dangerous place, fleshling. The wasteland is no place for the faint of heart. It is no place for even my people, and we no longer have hearts. The broken shards of our planet contain dangers in every corner. If you aren't careful, you'll stumble into an ambush from deadly ethereals who have gone feral on our former home. Falling into their hands. That is a fate I would not wish on my worst business rival.
The trust will sail.
Tell me what you need.
This place brings back memories. Some good, some less. It matters what you do with them. I thought Illyria would have tried to kill me by now, yet here she is. Perhaps her blind faith in her mentor locus-walker is stronger than I thought.
We will survive.
I'd known Koresh had been destroyed, but it's something else to see it in front of me. Dimensius must pay for this.
Stay alert.
Koresh was always harsh and unforgiving. Using her Rishi ribbons, the oracles turned the merciless wastes into a garden.
Rishi ribbons?
Relics from old Koresh that were used by the rabble, as dangerous as they are powerful.
So powerful that I betrayed the All-Devouring. I thought the ribbons would deliver me from his service. You were here before! Is this all you're doing? I was merely the harbinger to Dimensius. I did not destroy this world.
So, we learn that Xal'atath did not want to be a slave to Dimensius any longer, that she sought to get out from under him, and she hoped that she could use this extremely powerful relic from Koresh, the Rishi ribbons, to give herself the power to do so. We don't really know, and we don't really learn why she wanted to get out from under him, but considering that she's sort of been after power, I guess that's a fair enough reason to say. There are some theories about how Xal'atath is hoping to consume the power of Dimensius for herself and also become a Void Lord. And obviously we're not going to see whether that's actually true or not until the end of the raid. But it feels sort of compelling, I think,
So this is what
with
has
this.
become of Koresh.
Thank you for saving our city. We must keep Tazavesh alive if we are to have the slimmest hope of restoring our world. What waits for me out there? Our world is a shattered husk. Brave Koreshi, make the trip over to salvage what we can. But we all know that the problem we face is an impossible incline.
These Shadow Guard dogs will not
Also,
deter us.
something else I want to say about what Xal'atath just told us. This will also be a slight spoiler for something we're going to learn in, I think, the next storyline. But in the lore walking quests in 1117, for the Xal'atath quests, we learn that she was imprisoned in the Knife at the height of the Black Empire. We don't really have an exact timeline for that, but it had to be at least more than 20,000 years ago, since we have dates for, like, the War of the Scaleborn and the Winterscorn War from, like, 15 to 20,000 years ago, and that was all stuff that obviously came after the Black Empire and its fall. And I was wondering, at this part when we came across this, if Xal'atath was here for the destruction of Koresh, and she had a hand in it. Well, we're saying in the timeline that had to be more than 20,000 years ago. And we did sort of get a timeline from the TBC Netherstorm quests, and I say sort of because the quests said that they'd been hunting Dimensius for 1,000 years, which is actually pretty recent. And I had first interpreted this to mean that Koresh was destroyed 1,000 years ago, but actually it doesn't say that, it just says that they've only been hunting Dimensius for 1,000 years. So technically, in some sense, I don't think that's been retconned. But I'll leave that up to you if you think that arguably has been retconned. But we are in fact going to learn very soon, like I said, slight spoiler, that the timeline, the scale of time of years that this is happening on, Koresh was destroyed like hundreds of thousands of years ago. Mostly because it had to predate when Xal'atath was turned into a knife, since realistically I don't think that she could have heralded Dimensius' destruction of Koresh as a knife. I think that she's been on Azeroth the whole entire time since then.
We forestall extinction.
This is what we are fighting for. We can only save fragments of Koresh, but we can prevent other worlds from sharing our dreadful fate.
Survival is our
I don't know where the first storyline ends because I think the progression credit for the first one is a little slightly bugged. But honestly, I think that's as good a place to end this video as any. And then pick up with the next storyline, or what might be the end of the first storyline, in the next video. We have so much to come to still learn about Koresh and its history and the world building of the Koreshi. This part honestly is just like the tip of the tip of the tip of the iceberg. Like, I am so excited to get into all the delicious lore reveals that come after this, but you haven't seen anything yet. Mark my words. So thank you so much for joining me for this first part in the Koresh campaign, and I hope to see you for part 2. Oh no, they're dead. Well, I guess you just went back to the Shadowlands. Get your bearings in the city. The 4 of us stayed together. The 4 of us? I mean, I don't know about that, but... Within it, Nexus King Xal'atath. What? 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 Stronger containments. There is...
That would be my next stop if I were a void.
I am not asking you to...
Energy dynamics and the murmur. Murmur! Murmur! Look at her. She's she's not.